I'll wait for the delay to end. Hi, I'm Eric Allen. I'm here with Joe Drilling.
Hello.
This is Genesis or Genesisn't, where I play an old
Sure
Genesis
is.
game and check it out and see if I like it or not, and then say if I liked it or
That,
not.
that, that's it. Yeah, there is no end then. And
It's
then we do it again next
and
week.
it's pretty complicated. Well, I want to make sure people know what they're in for here when they boot this up.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I haven't played these games. That's kind of the idea, is that I have not played a lot of Genesis games, so I have now. I feel like I've played quite a few.
No.
I don't know
You've
how
played
many of these
30,
we've done,
30 some.
but okay. Plus the like 4 or 5 that I played
That you'd
before
previously-
that we
well-
did this.
Well, to
so-
be fair, at least one of the ones you played for this, you'd previously played because we had an extra life donator request. You know, that was
true, a game that you and I had played, and I had played before that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, tonight we're gonna play The Adventures of Batman and Robin, because I don't know why, because Joe picked it.
There's a Justice League movie out that no one seems to care about, but
Okay.
you
Is it
know,
gonna be
that's
bad?
as good a reason as any.
Seems like the last
The
few
Justice League movie?
DC related things that have come out have not been so great.
Yeah, my understanding is that the Justice League movie is better than all of them except Wonder Woman, basically, but like is still not good,
Okay.
and also has some really bizarre tonal problems because two separate directors like worked on it. So
Okay.
apparently that's a pretty serious thing. We've done 35 of these so far, by the way,
Okay.
just for the record.
So I've played like 40-ish Genesis games. I mean, most of them I've only played for half an hour, although a few of the ones that we've played for the show I've played to completion. Like,
Yeah, you went back and played like a lot of Crusader of Senti.
I played through
I don't know if
that.
you
I
finished
played.
it.
I played through the whole thing of that. That game is really good.
Yeah, no, that's good.
All right, so I'm gonna just get right into this. I checked out the options
Yeah.
earlier. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot. You can like
really
change the
not.
number of continues, and there's a sound test, but neither of those things seems particularly
Yeah.
useful. So
This game looks really good.
yeah, the cutscenes and stuff for sure. The animation's very nice. Like so there is a Super Nintendo Adventures of Batman and Robin. Did you do an episode of same name different
did.
game on these? I thought so. Like a long time
did.
ago, right? Like way back.
Well, I shouldn't say the last time, but it was like almost 2 years ago. It was when Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice came out.
Okay.
Was the last time? Was when I did that episode. Yeah. So there's
2 years
this
ago
version.
feels like an eternity ago.
It kind of does, yeah. So there are 3 Sega versions that were published by Sega, and there is one Super Nintendo version that was developed and published by Konami.
Konami, yeah.
So they are vastly different. They're like not even
Right.
kind
only-
of the same thing.
The only thing they have in common is the name, basically.
Right.
and
yeah,
Batman.
they're both side scrollers.
True.
They both have sort of ill-advised vehicle sections.
Okay.
But not the same ill-advised vehicle sections, different ill-advised vehicle sections. So yeah, this game is I don't put it on a level of Gunstar Heroes or Contra Hardcore, but it's a very solid run and gun type of game. You're actually doing a lot more punching than is typical. So the mechanics of this game is basically that
Right.
when you're at a distance, you can shoot, and if you wait to shoot, that little meter in the upper left is going to fill up, and you'll get a stronger shot.
Seems like there's different shots too. Or
There are
yes-
3 different shots. Yeah, there are 3 different shots. So but if you hold the button down, you get rapid fire. Yeah, so you won't get the third shot, but you'll get rapid fire if you hold the button down. And if you get close to enemies, you can punch and kick them, and that does more damage than your shot, generally speaking.
Right. Seems like it's kind of dangerous because there's some dudes with some pretty
Right.
good range attacks.
Yeah. It depends on like these normal clowns with the crowbars. They're pretty easy to punch, kick, headbutt, away. But the big guys with the bags on their shoulders, they're a little tougher. But they do go down a lot easier to punches and kicks. So this game and the Sega CD version were developed by Clockwork Tortoise, who only developed those 2 games before going under, which is kind of a bummer. And the Game Gear version was developed by Appaloosa Interactive, also known as Nova Trade, who were behind The thing that they did that people like is Echo the Dolphin. They did the first 2 Echo the Dolphin games, I believe, and then they did like the PlayStation Contra games, which is why everybody doesn't like them.
Okay.
And the Game Gear Adventures of Batman and Robin is not good, so I wouldn't waste your time with it.
Is it basically this just like
good.
zoomed way in?
No, it's worse than that.
Okay.
It's really bad. This game. So you're already getting sort of you.
Do I not have a dodge? I don't have a dodge, do I?
You don't have a dodge. You
Okay.
do not have a dodge. You can see that there's sort of.
I've been playing a lot of Cuphead lately, so not playing a game like this and not having a dodge is a little.
You're expecting to have a dodge and a double jump that nullifies enemy fire.
Only if it's pink.
Right. Well, which those bullets kind of are.
They could be. They're blue. There's blue bullets in Cuphead.
Yeah. So, this game is 2 players. The Super Nintendo version is not. The Super Nintendo version also varies the levels a lot more, even forgetting about the ill-advised vehicle sections. Super Nintendo version.
Super Nintendo version has really amazing like rotoscoped animation.
It does,
and kind of bland otherwise, but that's pretty much all I remember about that game.
The soundtrack is really good.
Okay.
It sounds a lot like Shirley Jones. Is that her name? Who did the soundtrack for the show?
I don't know.
I don't know if they took pre-existing compositions of hers for that version. This version, the music is just like Genesis style techno. It sounds really good for Genesis music, but it's not really. It doesn't really fit the atmosphere of the game.
It's not very Batman-y. I mean, like especially because the animated series has very like iconic music, right?
Right. And she was the woman who composed most of the music for that show. Worked closely with Tim Burton. She was like Tim Burton's assistant or something for many years. So it sounds similar to the music from Tim Burton, Danny Elfman. Sorry, she was Danny Elfman's.
Right.
So it sounds similar to the Tim Burton movies, which were scored by Danny Elfman because she was Danny Elfman's assistant or co-writer or collaborator or something. But again, this game looks really good. If you look at the buildings, like you're not at the parts that look really great quite yet.
They have kind of like a weird 3D kind of a thing going.
Let's say they don't move. There's not parallax in this level, but the way the buildings are designed, they move like almost like they're made out of polygons, but they're not. And there's a Riddler stage that just is super frustrating and very hard. But not Riddler, Mad Hatter. But it looks really good. The scaling effects. The Genesis hardware could not natively do scaling and rotation, but to play this game, you wouldn't believe that. They managed it. So I'm going to double check and see if there's. I feel like there are level select codes or something in here, and there should be, so we can see some of those.
Yeah, that'd be good.
This game is tough, and since you haven't played it before, you may not finish the first stage.
Okay.
Because
well, it doesn't seem like you only get you don't get a ton of hits here right off the bat, and there's just like 1,000 dudes all over the place.
Yeah. So and also the stages are very long in this game. Like I think there's only 4 or 5 stages.
Mm-hmm.
There is a level skip code, so
okay, good.
let me know. Yeah, there's only 4 or 5 stages, but each stage has like 3 or 4 parts that are fairly lengthy. Like you haven't made it out of part 1 of stage 1 yet. So the thing about the weapons in this game is that you should try them all to sort of get a feel, but if you stack the same color, it powers up.
Nope.
That same
mm-hmm.
color. So if you
do I have other moves that I have other than just punching, and do I have like a slide or anything that I can do, or is that pretty much it? Just jump kick?
I don't think you can slide. If you jump twice, you can jump kick, and if you
hold down, you can do like a dive kick kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can slide, it's probably down and jump, but I don't remember being able to do anything like that.
You can shoot down though, but that's about it.
Also, when you break up in garbage cans, sometimes you'll see those blue hearts will float out. Those are health. You want to try
that's why I was because there's like a big
those?
one that you can get that I grabbed because it doesn't move, but those little ones move. So
Yeah.
Missed him.
Oh, and the little black ball with the fire going around it, that is a weapon upgrade for whatever weapon you have.
Okay.
But if you get the same color, that does the same thing. So right now you have the blue weapon, the red weapon is batarangs, and the green weapon is bola. A bola. The bola is the strongest weapon, but you only get one. Flies in a straight line.
Okay, see, I like that time I got an upgrade. Now I can shoot 2 at a time.
Right. I would say the ninja stars.
Man, I don't know how I'm supposed to dodge this shit.
It's really annoying.
I can tell you right now that this game seems fine, but I would like it like 50% more if I just had like it's just something that gave me like 5 iframes.
Right.
For that kind of stuff, but
like a dodge move, yeah.
Because I feel like I'm just totally powerless when that thing's shooting at me, but.
So you can kind of crouch under it and then jump over it, but I think there are times when it fires in like a full circle, if I remember correctly, and you're just kind of hosed when it does that.
I mean, it's fine because like I'll get better and get there with more health next time or whatever. So.
That game over screen looks super good, though. By the way, the Mr. Freeze there.
Yeah. So this was like this in the Tim Burton or this show, which was called Batman the Animated Series when it first came out. Then...
Right, it was Batman the Animated Series, then The Adventures of Batman and Robin, then Batman the New Adventures or something weird like that. I think I don't remember the naming convention.
I just contrad myself.
You scroll yourself off the screen, or
no, or I Castlevania'd myself. Maybe that's a better way because I picked up a weapon I didn't want. I had an upgraded red one, and then I accidentally picked up a blue because it looks like the weapon power ups like rotate. Yeah, so the timing wasn't quite good enough to get it.
Yeah, I just saw it. Yeah, so they stay the same power when they stay the same level that they're at when you pick up a different one. But if you pick up the same one over and over, it raises the level.
Right. Yeah, that's what So I went from a level 2 to a level 1, which was kind of a bummer.
Also, I was wrong. The ones that flash quickly, all colors, will boost your level no matter what weapon you have. The black thing with the fire around it is actually makes your meter stay full for like 15 seconds or something like that. So you can just fire constantly without the meter going down.
I can say it's pretty. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, I was gonna say you were started to say something about the cartoon. I think about the show itself.
Oh, just like that, and like that's pretty much the only exposure I've ever really had to Batman.
That's probably the best exposure you can have to Batman. That's a really good show.
Yeah, the show was really good. I really liked that show. I just looked at there was only 2 seasons. There was only like 85 episodes, but I remember watching that for years and years because it was on. Yeah. It was like the last one before the like reruns of The Simpsons or Happy Days or whatever, depending on what era it was. But it was like the last Saturday or like last afternoon cartoon that was on during the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like the show a lot. I have the first season on DVD.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it since I was a teenager or whatever, but
it actually holds up really. It holds up really well. Actually, I was like, I'm gonna watch this. Like, this is gonna be one of those things where I get the DVD and I watch it, and then it's like I got one of the Transformers DVD sets when I was in my 20s, and I watched like 3 episodes, and I was like, this show is fucking garbage. Like, why did I ever like this? This is terrible. The animation sucks, and the stories don't make any sense, and the fucking robots change size in every other scene. Like, the
robots look cool though. They're cool.
They do look cool. The character designs are super cool.
Yeah, I definitely had a similar thing to with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was my favorite show when I was a kid. And
yeah,
the show's also kind of trash, unfortunately.
I had the first season or 2 of that on DVD as well, and it's fine. The first 5 episodes were like pretty well budgeted, so they actually look pretty good, and sort of serve as like a pilot movie type of thing. But after that, it just like takes the nosedive. But it's another thing, like the character designs were super cool, and there were a ton of them. And the video games are good.
True. Yeah, there's a lot of good Turtles video games. Well, yeah, so anyway, I forgot what I was going to say now. Something
This
about
show does hold up, so I do recommend revisiting. And it's on Amazon now, actually, if you have Amazon Prime.
Honestly, like of
it's
most of those
Prime.
cartoons, The Tick also still holds up pretty well.
Yes. Oh,
There's
man,
still
yes.
some pretty funny stuff in The Tick.
This was one of the first cartoons, I think, to, like, win Emmys after a long time of cartoons basically being awful. like children's cartoons, like, yeah, like, so a lot of people consider, like, this show was sort of the end of drought where children's cartoons were done super cheaply. And even as a kid, I remember thinking it was weird that the animation was so much better in Looney Tunes from like the 40s than it was in like the new shows that I was watching on TV.
I guess the answer really was just to get up in this thing's face and just like DP it. Oh, come on! Oh, come on! Whatever. That's hogwash. That thing was dead, and I still took damage from it. And then I accidentally picked up the wrong power-up again. Great.
If you want the level skip code, I'm happy to give it to you.
Oh yeah, let me give this one more go around here, and then we'll skip around a little bit, check out some of the other levels. Yeah, I mean the animation in The Tick is terrible, but the scripts and stuff are still hold up.
The animation in this show is actually still pretty good. It's not to the level of, like, I'm trying to think of something I've seen recently.
I mean,
where I was like, that was
the only
really good.
shows back then that really had good animation were like the Disney shows. All looked pretty good, like
the Disney
DuckTales
shows,
and Tailspin and stuff like that.
Darkwing Duck, yeah.
And then like beyond that, if you really wanted good animation, it was really just like classic cartoons like Looney Tunes and stuff.
Right. I think when the Nicktoons came in, like Rocco and Ren and Stimpy and
I mean that's different.
Those shows
though,
were
right?
pretty well animated.
That's a whole different style of animation. I mean, it's good.
It's a different style, but I mean, like, pretty much every cartoon during the 80s, you know,
looked like shit.
Mask, Transformers, like,
right.
Yeah, they're really bad.
They were just like
Silverhawks,
thinly
whatever,
veiled
Thundercats.
attempts to sell you toys, and there was not much more to them.
Right. And this show is, it's really good. There's like a 2-part Mr. Freeze episode that everybody like talks about how great, you know, it is, and I, again, won an Emmy, I believe. And Kevin Conroy is just really great as Bruce and Batman. Voice-wise, Mark Hamill's great as the Joker. Ron Perlman is great as Clayface.
Still, he still was the Joker in like all the recent video games and stuff too.
Yeah, he still was. Actually, I talked about that when I did the video on this because Batman Arkham Knight had just come out, and I was like, man, like these two guys have been doing, because they're the voices in the Sega CD version of Batman and Robin, of the Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Just the whole voice cast of the show. Ron Perlman is in that game, and Mark Hamill. And,
I mean, if it works and you can get them to come back, then you might as well just do it, right?
Right. So it's like I thought about it, and I was like, I think the only other person who's been doing a voice this long in video games is Charles Martinet. Like nobody else has constantly been the voice of the same character in video games for 20. However many years it's been, 24 years, 23 years, or whatever. Because Mario first had a voice in... Well, there was that annoying crying noise in Yoshi's Island, but he first had a voice, and it wasn't Mario 64. It wasn't Mario. There's some other slightly lesser known thing that I'm
Hotel Mario or something.
He had a voice. Well, that wasn't Charles Martinet, but he did have a voice in that. No, Charles Martinet.
You talking about Captain Lou Albano?
Oh man, Captain Lou. They should just use vocal outtakes of Captain Lou for this movie that DreamWorks
God, that would be so good, wouldn't
it? That would be great.
They could probably build a profile to like make a robot voice of Captain Lou out of like if you just went back to like all the old wrestling promos and Mario show and stuff.
Now I'm gonna look it up because everybody. It's one of those things where it's like everybody thinks it's Mario 64, but it's actually something else.
Does he say something
in
Mario's
World? Fundamentals.
Oh, okay, great.
Which was an edutainment game.
Yeah.
Martinet, in the Yeah, two edutainment games, Mario in Real Time and Mario's... No, I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to read this whole sentence before I talk. Okay. He first voiced Mario as Mario in Real Time, which was like a trade show demo where they put sensors on his face and he would talk and Mario's mouth would match what he was saying. But he actually appeared in the first game he appeared in was Mario's Fundamentals in 1995, which was an edutainment game for PCs by Interplay. And he was the voice of Mario in that game.
Okay, give me that code.
So there you go. Code is, I believe you pause first, and it's BA down, left up C.
Okay, hold on. Pause. Okay. BA down,
left up C.
Okay. So it just skips me to the next level.
And then it should just jump you to the next stage.
Okay, cool. Is this like one dash whatever, or is this two?
I have to, there's stream delay, so I have to catch up with where
I'm
you're
in a
at.
casino.
You're in a casino. That is level 1-2.
Okay. I'll play it for a minute, and then we'll switch it up again. Here at the Gem Expo.
There's a lot of windows that break in the background and stuff, and
can I break
weird,
them,
freaky, like chattering. They break.
Okay.
Something happens, I think, and they shatter or something. Then a bunch of weird chattering Joker teeth. Each stage is a different villain, so that's how you'll know when you've done like a whole stage, because when you get to the next stage, it'll be like different henchmen and different, you know. So as long as clowns are attacking you, it's still stage 1, because that's Joker territory.
Well, I was gonna say that this Batman looks more like a Simpsons character than especially because he has a yellow face.
Yeah,
he's like,
a little bit.
He's like a Simpsons Batman parody or something.
Yeah, you can also play as Robin. They play exactly the same.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask if I should try the other...
The animations are different.
At some point. Yeah.
The animations are different, but they play. There's no... It's not like, you know... man, I'm trying to even think of a good example. It's not like a Ninja Turtles game where they each play separately, you know, differently.
Except for the Game Boy ones where they're all pretty much the same.
Except for the Game Boy ones where they're all pretty much the same. So... You know what I meant. Don't...
No, I know. I played Fall of the Foot Clan during...
Oh, that's right. During your Extra Life warm-up. Right.
Man, that was... I don't remember liking that game really when I was a kid, but that was much worse than I remembered it being.
The two games... So I haven't replayed that, but I take your word for it, and other people who I've heard talk about. But that and Castlevania Adventure I remember liking as a kid, just because I think of the novelty of having those series in portable form. But after hearing you play the Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan, and after myself revisiting Castlevania in one of our Halloween streams, Castlevania Adventure, that game is terrible.
Well, there's like three Castlevania. So Coffee and I were screwing around with that one night, and there's like 3 Castlevania games on the Game Boy, and they all kind of start out exactly the same, but they're all like, they all look and play quite a bit differently, and one of them seemed totally okay, but I can't remember which of the 3 it was.
Well, the second one, I've played quite a bit of the second one for an episode of 5 Reasons during Halloween.
Yeah.
And the second one is pretty good. It's not as good as, you know, Castlevania 3 or anything, but like, you know, I'd probably rather play it than Simon's Quest, which I still can't believe Mike likes Simon's Quest more than
Mike's dumb. Also, I think he's Dracula's lying when he says that. I think he's just, you know, it's hardly right.
You don't believe that he really believes that, is what you're saying?
Right, because Simon's Quest is trash. I mean, it's not. It's the same. It is the exact same Castlevania physics, only in a game where you have to like grind hearts for stuff, and the level design is terrible.
And throw bottles at floors so that you know which blocks are fucking fake.
And you can just walk past bosses and stuff. I made it to Harley Race. All right, so what's the code? What's the code again?
Wait, Harley races in this game?
Yeah, Harley Race.
Somebody take the damn money.
So what was that code again?
It's
BA
down,
BA down.
BA down, left up C.
Okay. All right. This looks like the final.
Oh, it's bad luck.
What's that? The
BAD.
oh, okay.
BADLUC.
Nice.
Bad luck. I get it now. Probably even more clever than the Mortal Kombat Blood Code being the name of an album by the band Genesis.
Okay. I'm on the back of a moving truck. All right, we're gonna do it again.
Yep. And this is a very impressive looking level. And then at the end of this, you fight the Joker. So
okay.
In like a weird hot air balloon.
Face. A two-sided story. Oh, an elevator level.
You never see those in video games. Especially video games of this era.
Yeah.
Totally
Zeppelin loading dock restricted. Yeah, I think in the Super Nintendo one, all the bullets are invisible, correct? Like, you can't actually see when they're shooting, or where they're shooting. I don't know why that just popped into my head all of a sudden, but...
I don't remember having that as an issue. Some of the enemies don't shoot that much. It's also like most of your basic attacks in that game are fists, and then you have expendable items that you can throw in most of the stages.
I think this game is jerking me around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But some of the stages in the Super Nintendo one don't let you attack and only give you the Batarang, which I think comes... Most of your items, I think, are expendable, but the Batarang, it like has a short range and only stuns enemies. It doesn't actually hurt them for the most part. And like, there's a stage where you have to face a bunch of poison ivies, like, whatever.
Keep trying to Cuphead dash.
Women.
I keep hitting the trigger. Like, that doesn't work in this game. Right. Let's move on. Oh, here we go. Oh, this looks pretty good. This is one of the bat plane levels.
Yeah, this is one of the... it's always Two-Face's stage, which is weird. In both versions, the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, the ill-advised vehicle section is Two-Face's stage. Yeah, it's worse than the Super Nintendo version. The Super Nintendo version, it's a car. It's like a timed racing Mode 7 thing. Cool. And it's not good. But again, this is one of those things where like the background looks really good. The way those buildings like sort of look like they're
they look like they're rudimentary polygons.
Yeah, but all the enemy ships take way too many hits.
Yeah. Also, that background looks really cool, but it's like a really cool wallpaper. There's not really
Right.
there's not really enough going on to make it a. Especially if this level is as long as some of the other levels were. And
this one is quite a bit shorter, actually. This section is shorter than some of the earlier sections.
All right, well, we saw it. I'm gonna move on to the next one here.
We at least want to get to the Mad Hatter, like,
this next level is just
thing.
another one of these. Oh, no, there's clouds.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yes.
All right,
and then you don't actually fight Two-Face, you fight, like, his blimp or whatever.
His Zeppelin?
His Zeppelin, yes.
Because that was the Zeppelin loading zone. Why do I...
Right.
This music sounds very familiar to me.
I don't know. Did you, like, hear an OC remix of it at some point or something?
It sounds like boss music from some other game.
You know, I've somehow got the Mario 64, like, the main theme stuck in my head.
Uh-huh.
And I was trying to pinpoint... Like, I knew it was Mario music. But I'm like, what game... I'm like, I feel like that's from Mario 64. but then I don't know how I got it stuck in my head because I haven't played Mario 64 in at least a year and a half. And I'm like, is it in like Mario Odyssey somewhere that I'm not remembering or something? Because they do that, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the sliding music is like, and definitely in Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
The Mario 3. The Mario 3 music when you go into like a Toad house to play the card game, that doon 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 doon, that is in Mario Odyssey for sure. When you do some of the
God,
you know, some of those style,
all these lawn gnomes.
Yeah, so this is probably the best looking stage in the game in terms of this part. This like soundstage part, not quite as much, but the boss at the end of it is this like giant mechanical cat,
cool.
Which looks really good. And then the next stage. So once you decide to move on, the next stage is, I think it's the next section is the really ridiculous. You know, you sort of can't believe it's running on this hardware, you know, type of stage. So,
is it just a Cuphead level?
No, unfortunately. That would be great, though. So you're at the end of that game now, hey? Or not quite?
I'm on the final boss. I beat the one I was complaining about in the email thread I finished.
Okay. So you're on the devil? He's the final boss, I assume?
Mm-hmm. This very much feels like a Cuphead level. If only I had that dodge.
Right.
Actually, this seems really easy compared to a Cuphead level. Although the in-between...
some of the early ones.
The in-between stuff in Cuphead is really hard. Or the in-between levels in this game are much harder than the ones in Cuphead. Just because they're so much longer. Like almost everything in Cuphead takes like less than 2.5 minutes, basically.
Yeah, although you know, when we were really exhausted and trying to get through that level in the tree, we were having some problems.
Yeah, it really isn't that difficult. It was just that was us playing it after having been awake for 22 consecutive hours or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's not.
I
this
was only playing left-handed.
That doesn't make any sense.
Hi, Anthony.
It'd be harder, right?
Hi, Anthony.
Hi.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I use my left hand on the D-pad all the time, and it doesn't seem that hard.
Yeah, but if you were only using your left hand.
You definitely were not doing that.
You don't know.
I do know. I was there.
Well, then your head wasn't in the game.
Oh man, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. There's a boss in Cuphead that. Is this the level you talk about, Joe? The one with the mushrooms?
It's the next because I didn't realize it was gonna jump you to the boss, the cat boss. Before it jumped you to the. So no, it's the next stage.
All right, I want to get this.
Mushrooms are not the super technically impressive. You get warped into this like Mad Hatter nightmare escape.
I'm in here now.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like when I was not about to drop dead of exhaustion, you know, that the platforming sections in Cuphead were not that difficult.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think, like I said, I'm at the end of the game, and I didn't think it was. I mean, it's tough, but because everything, all the challenges in the game are like little repeatable 2-minute at most long chunks, and most of the time it's like 30 seconds. It doesn't feel that hard for the most part. Like there was only a couple of bosses that took me probably more than like 45 minutes or an hour to beat. And there were a few of them even towards the end of the game that I beat, and I'm like my second or third try just from having, you know. And then there were some other ones that I banged my head against and then switched weapons and then immediately like walked right over them because I kind of forgot to. But like there are definitely some bosses that some of the different guns in Cuphead are more suited to. But man, that game is fucking good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy it.
I was gonna wait for it to come out in a Humble Bundle, and then I just was thinking about it all the time and decided to buy it, and I'm very glad that I did.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said, I'm sort of trepidatious because I'm not sure how well my PC will run it, because I don't think my graphics card is.
We should have tried that when I was there, because I could have logged.
Yeah, I guess we should have. Yeah, that would have been a good idea, but oh well.
I mean, better drive back down.
It's it's $20, and you know, if it chugs, then you know, I'll just play it after I build a new PC in the beginning.
Well, you can return it on Steam like for
it's true.
What 24 hours?
Yeah,
whatever
that's
it is.
true.
It's
the time you play.
It's like
right?
you have like 2 weeks or like 2 hours, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, so just play it for like 20 minutes. If it's chugging, then
right. I mean, if he's gonna, well, you might as well send it. If you're not gonna keep it, you might as well, because you'll probably be able to get it for cheaper down the road.
That's true. That is true. So this stage,
is there more to the
stage
stage than what
there's
we're
a
seeing?
boss. There's a
does
boss.
this stage ever end?
The levels in this game are pretty long, I feel like.
There's a boss in this section that the boss fight is like probably the best looking thing in the game, but it's similar but not congruent. But I would bet that if you skip, it'll skip you to that part.
Are you playing as Batman or the robot guy?
I don't think so. Is this the boss? I think I skipped right over it.
I can't. I'm waiting for stream delay to see, or maybe is there a section where you're on like a dinner table or something first?
Yeah, that's where I am now.
That's before the boss.
Okay.
That's still before the boss. God, this stage is way longer than I remembered it being.
Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, here he is.
Do you guys already comment on how when Batman dies, he like covers his face?
No.
I like it a lot.
He's in shame.
Yeah.
Oh, 0 credits. So.
Yeah. I mean, I've already been going more than a half an hour anyway, so.
Right.
So is this
Battletoads.
one of the good Batman games?
This is one of the good Batman
Yeah, it
games.
seems pretty good. I don't want to spoil the end of the episode of Genesis or Genesisn't, but this seems pretty good.
Yes, well, I will say that I think it is one of the good Batman games. In fact, I would argue that, especially if you're talking pre-Arkham series games, it's one of the best Batman games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, that ain't saying a whole lot.
Yeah,
because it's like, I mean, there's some good Batman games out there, but yeah, for the most part, they aren't anything really.
I think the first NES game, the one based on the Burton movie.
Yeah, that game's okay.
Yeah, that one's
really good. And I would say this game and its Super Nintendo counterpart are both like very good. Batman Returns on the Super NES, I think, is pretty good.
That was my question: was whether there was a SNES.
Right. Well, Batman Returns on the Genesis is pretty good too, right? Or is that the same thing?
We can find out.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's
yeah, like I said, I don't think like until Arkham Asylum came out, there was not a Batman game that I would have described as great, or at least of the ones that I had played.
Yeah,
I really like the NES, the Burton NES game. I like.
Yeah, it's good. It's a fine one of those, but I don't know if it's anything really exciting.
I think I've told you this before, Joe, but that's the game that I started playing in the morning and got way further than I normally had, and I paused it for like 18 hours while we went to my grandma's house, and then came back and beat it at like 8 p.m. or whatever when we got back.
I don't think you have told me that story, but that is the time-honored tradition of leaving your NES on for a longer than recommended period, so you can.
I just remember being like nervous the entire time we were at my grandma's house about how like I was in the groove and we had to stop, and I wasn't going to be in the groove when I went back. I totally beat it.
Last time I played through that game, it took me about 20 minutes to get through the first however many stages.
Shit.
And then the final stage took me like an hour and a half.
The key is to go to your grandparents' house for 12 hours or whatever.
Should have done that. But Yeah, I mean, this is after this. There's one more. So there are 4 stages now that I'm remembering. There's one for there's
credits
the
remaining.
the Joker stage, the Two-Face stage,
No,
the Mad Hatter stage, and the Mr. Freeze stage. The Mr. Freeze stage is not that much to write home, but in fact, I think it's mostly, if not entirely, the flying rocket belt stuff, like what you were just doing before this.
Okay.
But this is the stage that everybody kind of shows to be like, look at how awesome this is.
I'll say the jetpack thing probably actually the ship thing's probably the worst, but I don't really care for the jetpack stuff either. It's okay. It's fine. The running around stuff is really good. This game looks really nice.
Yeah. So you'd say Genesis?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely Genesis pretty good. Like I said, I think that in 2017, a game like this with this difficulty level needs a dodge move that gives you a few frames of invincibility. I think that the game would still be really tough, but I think that it would give you a little bit more control over where and when you take damage.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not really that hard because most of the things that are shooting at you aren't. It's just hard. It would feel a lot better to dodge, especially like in that Mad Hatter level with all the little rotating gnome guys. You just feel like you're getting swamped.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to reposition, or even just a run, honestly, like a way to get from one side of the screen to the other more quickly without having to anticipate quite so much where they're going to be. But anyway, yeah, this game's pretty good. So, I don't know, we'll be back next week with something else.
Yep, and we'll be right back with some other streaming stuff.
Yeah, we're going to stream some stuff.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.